Hey guys, in this video I'm gonna cover accumulation, manipulation, expansion, and distribution setup, right? So most of you have heard a lot about this setup, right? I talk a lot about this setup, and this setup for me is what defines my daily bias, right? My daily bias and my weekly bias. But I look for accumulation, manipulation, expansion, and distribution, right? So I'm gonna tell you guys what these things mean, and I'm going to show you guys how to identify them on the charts, right? So first of all, there are different names to this in case you've looked at it before. Others are called power of three. Others have got their own different names that they've come up with to identify it, but I just simply call it accumulation, manipulation, expansion, and distribution, right? Because those are the those are the four stages that we look for, right, on this pattern. So with this pattern, it's quite simple, right? Quite simple. What we do, we see price accumulating. So the accumulation phase, obviously, it's consolidation. Or see price consolidating. What happens? Accumulating. In this case, we see smart money gathering up orders, right? They gather up orders. So at this point, we've got accumulation where we see sellers selling and then buyers buying, right? We know that when price is ranging, we've got an equilibrium state of sellers and buyers, both of them pushing the market equally until we have got an imbalance, right? So what happens when we're in an accumulation phase, right? We tend to see price manipulate to the upside, grabbing the liquidity down here. That's if we're in a downtrend, right? So they manipulate. Once they manipulate at this point, all the buyers will be like, wow, now we've pushed the market, and then they try to induce more buys into the setup by waiting for a break and retest, right? And then what happens? Price just grabs also the liquidity. So price grabs the liquidity up here for the people that are selling, right? Takes them out, and then the buyers try to jump on a break and retest, and then they also take them out. So this is price getting liquidity left and right? Getting all the liquidity. So gets liquidity up here, and then it also gets liquidity for the break and retest setup that these guys will be waiting for, right? So as you can see, we have accumulation, and then we've got manipulation. After manipulation, we have an OTE, right, which is like a bit of a pullback into the previous swing, right? And then we've got an expansion of the day after expanding, and then we've got distribution where just price consolidates or pulls back within the expansion phase. So this right here, it's a very, very useful pattern that you're gonna see play out in a day. So usually for me, I use this pattern for the daily basis, on a daily basis, meaning that I usually wake up in the morning, right? Check out for accumulation, and I use the Asian range to identify my accumulation phase, right? For me, Asia is always an accumulation phase because Asia is a dead market. People are deciding where to buy or sell, right? So look at the Asian market, the Asian session, identified as accumulation phase, right? And then I wait for London. London, we tend to see a lot of manipulation, right? We see London manipulate, and then we see some form of push to the downside, and then an expansion during New York, right? So yeah, guys, that's the accumulation, manipulation, expansion, and distribution pattern. It's quite simple. Usually you want to look for an OTE setup to jump on it, and it's gonna guide you very, very well for the day, right? It's gonna guide you very well for the day. So let me try to go into the charts right now, right, and show you a couple of examples. So let me just try to clear the drawings out, get back the mouse. Okay, perfect. So at this point, right, let me start off here. Let me start off here, guys. Let me start off here. So what do we have here? So here we have got price, right? We got price opening up at this point. So from the screen, first of all, what you're seeing, guys, is that you're seeing two things, right? You're seeing two things. You're seeing the Asian range, and then you're seeing this line right here. This green and red line that you're seeing that's forming up. It shows me the opening of the day, right? Because I know that price does what, right? Price opens for the day, right? Price opens for the day. So for that, price opens for the day, and then we see the manipulation, right? After manipulation, we see price come to the downside now, OTE, and then we see price reform a low, right? And then we see price pull back, which is distribution, and then it closes, right? So this is the pattern right here, guys. accumulation, manipulation, expansion, distribution, right? So I use this line to identify obviously manipulation and whether manipulation has already taken place. So what do we see here? We see price opening up at this point, right? So let me try to hide that, to hide the ICT users. Okay, perfect. So we see price obviously opening up, and then what happens when price opens up at this point? We see this grab of liquidity to the upside right here. Price grabs, pushes to the downside, and then we have this OTE move right here that we could have jumped on, where price gets into this imbalance and then shoots to the downside, right? Distributes, right? So this is distribution. Distribution happened here. As you can see, guys, it happened like that, right? We get a bit of manipulation, and then we get down here movement, OTE, and then just price distributes, right? As simple as that. And then the other pattern that we have right here is this, right? We get a bullish pattern. So this is a bearish setup, right? And then here we've got a bullish setup. What happens here? Price opens up at this point, right? And then price goes down, right? Price goes down, manipulates, forms the Asian range, also grabs the liquidity, accumulation of the Asian range, right? Grabs the liquidity down here, price goes up, forms an OTE, and then it just shoots up, targeting these highs, right? Targeting these highs. So yeah, so that's for the day. As you can see from there, what happened? We just distributed the price afterwards, right? The price was being distributed, right? So yeah, guys, as you can see, so far in the two examples, it works so amazing, right? It works amazing. It describes structure for you for the day. Hence, I said earlier in the videos that I use it for my daily biasness and also for the weekly biasness. So I'll show you guys further in the next two videos. I'm gonna show you guys how you can use it for daily bias and weekly bias. In this video, I'm just gonna show you guys how to identify it as accumulation and distribution. So in this third day right here, right, this was a unique day. I see we didn't have any manipulation, just surprise open and just push to the upside, to the downside, right? And then we had distribution here. Obviously, even if we didn't have manipulation, there are a lot of OTE patterns you could have jumped on, right? So we got this other OTE pattern right here. Price comes here, taps into this order block, and then just continue to the downside. So we could have jumped on this setup right here. Quite an easy peasy setup, right? And then the next day also, we didn't have any break to the upside. Price just continues with the trend, right? Continues with the trend, didn't have any manipulation. Obviously, as I said, there was another OTE setup right here that we could have jumped on later in the evening, which is price breaking to the downside here, right? And then pulling back within this block, and then just continues with the trend. So you could have jumped on that setup if you didn't have the manipulation phase then, right? So yeah, so this is another example, which is price, right? Opening up here and then manipulates, right? It manipulates the downside, taking out the liquidity on the low here, goes up here, comes back for an OTE within this on the lower time frame, and then we're going to push to the upside, right? And then the other example that we have is price, obviously, opening up here. What happens? Price manipulates down here, right? Pushes to the upside, comes back, grabs liquidity down the Asian range, pushes up, comes back for a pullback within this setup right here, and then just pushes to the upside, right? So as you can see, guys, it's quite consistent. It's quite consistent. If you don't have it, you opt for an OTE. You're not gonna have it on a daily basis, obviously, but when you do have it, it works so amazing. It works so consistent, right? It shows you actually the bias of the day, right? It shows you the bias of the day. So here, what happens? Price opens up, it manipulates to the downside, right? Manipulates to the downside, and then it pushes to the upside, displaces price, and then price comes back here, right? And then respects this block right here, right? Respects the block right here. So this will be the block, right? So this will be a block, price respects it, and then it shoots to the upside. So yeah, guys, these are some of the examples, and as you can see, all you have to do is just anticipate price open, right? Price open, right? Look out for the Asian range, right? Look out for the Asian range consolidation, right? Consolidation, wait for price to manipulate, grab liquidity within these levels of the Asian range, right? And then from there, look for an OTE, right? And then jump on the expansion, and then we get distribution like that, right? So this pattern, obviously, guys, it's just not gonna work randomly. It should work. It should work with a lot of confluence to the to market structure, to the higher time frame, right? You build confluence to the higher time frame. You come up with your withdraw structure basically on the higher time frame. You come up with the proper biasness, and then from there you anticipate this accumulation, manipulation, distribution. I mean expansion, then distribution phase, right? So these are some of the examples. Let me see if I can show you more examples of the day. Okay, so here price opens at this point and then it manipulates, pushes to the downside, and then we've got price go up here, right? Forms this OTE setup right here because price just expands to the upside, right? It expands to the upside, price comes back here to this block, and then we've got to push, then price just pushes to the upside, right? So this is a good setup right here. And then yeah, the previous day we had a similar setup where price forms, opens up at this point, right? Opens up at this point, and then we get Asian range, price manipulates, right? Manipulates here. What happens from there? Price pushes to the downside, right? We had an OTE in the next day, and then we see just price continue with the trend to the downside, right? Continue with the trend to the downside. And then the same day, we had the same pattern forming, right? So we see price open up here. After price opening up here, we see price expanding to the upside, right? Into the Asian range. So Asian range has got the high and the low. What happens? Price grabs liquidity above the Asian high, right? And then just pushes to the downside, right? And then we got this OTE formation, and then price just goes to the downside, right? Here we got the same setup. Price opens up here, Asian range accumulation, right? Asian range accumulation. We got that and that, grabs it, pushes to the upside afterwards, right? We got this, and then we got a continuation pattern targeting this high right here, right? And then here we had another pattern, similar pattern. Price opens up at this point, accumulates, right? As you can see, price slightly grabs the liquidity here, goes there, OTE within the imbalance, and then just pushes to the upside, targeting this imbalance here, right? So as you can see, guys, it's quite consistent, right? This pattern is quite consistent because even this next day, it does the same. So the only thing that you have to differentiate is to know when you're in a pullback phase and when you're in a swing phase. So if you're in a pullback phase, obviously looking manipulation to the downside. And then if you're in a swing phase, you're looking for manipulation to the upside, right? That's in a downtrend. So in a downtrend, as you can see, we look for manipulation when we're in a pullback because this is a pullback. This is anticipating a pullback. We'll be seeing price manipulating to the downside, going for the high, right? And then in the swing to the downside, we see price manipulate up here. Yeah, guys, so that's about it with accumulation, manipulation, distribution, expansion, and distribution. So in this video, I wanted to get you around the concept, and then in the next two videos, I'm going to show you how you can apply it on a daily biasness and a weekly biasness, right? All right, guys, hope this video is helpful, and see you in the next video.